So viewers, Caribbean people, welcome again to Being in Tune. This is our segment. Now you've seen Jennifer do one part of Being in Tune, and I'm handling this one. And all the real Connections 50+ followers must recognize this lady. She was a guest before on our show. And if you were following us playing mass, you certainly would have seen her then. So we are really, really happy to have Dianne Marcellin on with us again. Welcome, Dianne.
Thank you for being here.
Great. And Dee, what we are talking about is, you know, we looked at tuning in. Jennifer did a wonderful series that looked at mind, body, and soul, especially in our pandemic where everyone is so turned inside out. Now we want to turn to this space we exist in, because it's one thing to get your mind organized, but if that mind and body is not tuned into the right space, we still would be as upset as we can ever be by all the stress that the pandemic gives. And we thought that your background as a decorator and a lady of style generally, you would be a perfect person to have this conversation with. So I want to ask you as my first question before we get into when you put on your decorator hat, and you have on a hat now, so let's call that your decorator hat.
Okay.
And you see a space. What excites you about space?
Well, your creative mind has to come in there.
Yeah.
And what excites me about a space? I am a color person. So something in that space has to have a color to pop to make me get excited. So look for things that I could match for that space. That's my thing. I have to look for something in the room to like something like a gray room is going to say, hey, Dianne, look, you could work with so much color in that gray room. You could go orange, you could go green, you could go purple, you could go, and just look for things that is going to, you know, that I look for a color, one color alone. And I could work with that, yes.
Yeah. And what does color do to you? I mean, what does color do to you when you see that pop? What happens to you?
Well, you get excited and it makes you feel like, here, I could go and find something to suit that color.
Yeah.
You know, find items to put together to suit that color. Find a piece of carpet to you know, go wild with. That's why I say your creative juices will come in then.
Yes, you know? Yes. You know, and we hear many people talking about, well, we in a pandemic, we in a curfew, we in a bubble, and a lot of people are becoming depressed, frustrated, and we want to propose, and I know you have a story about that. We want to propose that we can look at our spaces, and there's indoor space and outdoor space, there's personal space and there's public space. But for now, we are saying if we look at our spaces, we are pretty sure that each of us, the creativity in us, the decorator in us, we can do something to make that, so that space becomes much calmer, puts us in a different frame of mind. Is that something that you can relate to?
Yes. And with me too, I mean, I find if you rearrange, remove clutter, and rearrange that little space into something that you could, you know, relax in. I mean, you have a space that you could relax in already, but if you move something away and say, you know what, let me replace it with something, or just move it away, change around, rearrange your furniture. It works for me. You know, it works for me.
And I think it works for so many people, even in a tiny, tiny room. You know, if you just, like I say, sometimes move the drapes from bedroom 1 to bedroom 2, or living room to dining room.
Yeah.
Just something.
Just rearrange, just, you know, remove and You know, it will give you an, it will give you, if you remove something, it might give you an idea to put something else on. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes just this simple act of, you use the word there, decluttering.
Decluttering. Yeah.
When we say, you know, people tend to think declutter, people have no sense of how much they've accumulated.
Yep.
And how much they're not using. So dear, I know
Yep.
you have a story about cleaning out a warehouse recently.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because your business has slowed down in the pandemic. So what was your decluttering story?
It isn't really much a story. It's just that my warehouse was just packed up with, you know, things just thrown on top of each other. And I decided, you know what? My anniversary was approaching, and I decided, here's what, I think I'm going to have my little anniversary dinner. We can go anywhere. Right in the back of in my office, I'm going to transform my office into, you know, like a restaurant and do that. So I started cleaning the warehouse, and I threw out so much things, Terri-Ann, that I could no longer use. Because too, I became despondent. You know, I said to myself, after this COVID is over, I think I'm going to get rid of a lot of stuff because I don't think I want to do it anymore. And after
That means give
decluttering
up
the
your
warehouse,
business, because you're talking about your warehouse as a decorator.
yeah, yeah. And then after decluttering, and my office, I transformed my office into, change around the color, added to it, and I said, you know what? It raised my spirit, and it did something to me. So, yeah, that's my story.
Yeah, because we really do believe that, you know, as we going through the pandemic, you know, you come back to the mind, body, and soul, and you come in a space. Sometimes just the sameness, and the normally we go out to work, and we go out to shop, or we go out to school, or we go out running errands, and we don't realize the sameness of the house or wherever we stay doesn't come down on us.
Yeah.
But now that we're forced to stay put for so long, we realize it's been a while.
Yeah.
And it's important for us to do something with the space that we're in to make it more pleasant to us.
Yes.
And
as I was telling you, it raised my spirit that I said, you know what? Every morning I would come in the back here to meditate, say my prayers, and, you know, relax the start of my day. And as I told you, looking out of the door, I said, you know what? I needed to add something to it. I needed a garden that I could look out into. And that's what I did. I created my garden. When I open my door, I can go out and, you know, start my day by being in my garden.
Yes, yes. You know, I was reading some things because, again, we are all homebound, and Jan and I live through this box here. We live through the box. But yes, you have to come out and you have to change around. And there is something not only with managing your space and managing, as I say, inanimate things, curtains and pictures and cushions and chairs and beds and so on. But there is something when you deal with live things, meaning plants. So were you always a garden person?
No. I love plants. I loved plants. So you always find my yard has a lot of plants. My brother was into landscaping, and he would come every month to spruce up my plants. So I was never into hands-on doing it.
But you appreciated nature.
However, yes. However, he always used to tell me, Dianne, this is something so easy to do. You have a love, because I love plants. You have a love for plants. Why don't you start doing your own gardening? Look, I mean, I could start you off with a little kitchen garden. I could clear the area for you. And it never excited me. However, as I said, when I opened that door, I said I wanted to see herbs. I have these 2 bicycles, and I said, you know what? I want to do herbs. I want to be able to get up and go and pick some mint, and probably do some minty. I want chai mint. I want all the mints. That is what started me off. I decided to go to the plant shop and buy seedlings and all the mints. And then I said, no, you know what? I needed some flowers. I needed some brightness. I needed some color. And started adding. And then a friend came and she said, oh my God, Dianne, look how beautiful you have these mints in these little teacups. And why don't you join this planting group called Planting to Eat on Facebook? You into doing vegetables? I said, I have no great room. You could create your own space with added these little pots that you have here. You could do the same thing. And that's exactly what happened. I joined the Planting to Eat group and they encouraged me. I looked at how these people are growing vegetables in containers. And I said, you know what? I am going to do that. And that's what I did. Went out, bought some manure, and I started my own pots. I painted them to give them the oomph because I didn't buy no pots. I had pots, I had troughs, I had everything. I emptied all those things that I have no use for.
Yes.
Vegetables gave me, it encouraged me to want to go and do more. So I planted beetroots and cauliflower and cabbages, and believe me, it grew. I was able to reap, and that encouraged me to continue going on and on with the vegetable garden.
Yeah. And was it, I'm sure now you started off sort of despondent because the decorator business was just gone and all of that. You went through those changes of changing your office. So you changed your personal space to something that made you relax and made you much happier. And because you wanted that door that you go out to be different, you got into gardening. And what has happened to you, your spirit? Where is your spirit now that you have not only a herb garden and a flower garden, but also a vegetable garden?
You know what? Peace and tranquility is there. I feel so peaceful on a morning when I say my prayers and I go out there. I'm able to come inside and not be in a quarrelsome mood because my husband found that, here, what, we all together in this house every day. You need to not be move that from there and move that from there because I have a habit of that. I can't see anything out of place.
Yeah.
And I'm no longer there.
Really?
So I'm no longer there. Believe me, I'm no longer there. I can go inside after I finish in my garden. I head to the shower. I'm so relaxed. I'm so at peace. I love it. I love it. I really do. You know, it's like my Zen. It's like a Zen to me. You know, I go out there. My neighbor came. I invited them to come across and see it. And she was like, oh my God, Dianne, I wish I had this. I will sit here whole day. Just sit outside here whole day, you know? So it's a kind of peacefulness for me.
And why do you think she thinks she can't have a space like that?
Because she has too much dogs.
Ah, so she chose to have dogs in her space.
They have about 13 dogs, so they can't have.
Okay.
Can't afford to have a garden.
Okay. 13 dogs, that's...
Yep.
No. Yep. But you know, the story you bring out, it's so very, very relevant because one of the things we want to do with Connections 50 Plus is to help people lift their spirits. We have to prepare for when this thing is done. Yeah. And we can't be all battered and haggard and down and in the dumps with no spirits because we have our vaccines. The vaccines are coming. We are all going to become vaccinated, and then whether there's no job, there's a job, whether there's no business or what, we have to have a spirit that allows us to start afresh and start renewed. And I really do feel that looking at our space, yes, we think that just changing in this period while we are waiting for a vaccine or waiting for the economy to reopen or waiting for whatever we're waiting for. It's so important to keep our spirits high, just changing our internal and external spaces. it really does make a difference. And it seems to me that that has certainly worked for you.
It has.
You know? And what else? Well, your husband sees that you're no longer arguing a lot. What other benefit has come to you because of the differences? I can imagine you're planting your own food. That's important.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My grocery, my market bill has and I get excited. He sees the excitement when I have to go pick, when I have to go read, and I come inside and I get so excited. I'm like a little child. You know, he sees excitement and he said he kind of supports me, tell me that's my project. That's my because I tell him sometimes sometimes I get up in the morning and I would say my prayers and sometimes I don't feel like I'll get a little pain in my I said, you know, Bert, you want to go outside and go and wear the plants to me? And he's like, that's your project. And I get mad when he tells me my project. Because I tell him it's our project. We are both eating from it, you know? So then he said, you know what? When I go outside to wet your plants, you come and stand up over me to make sure that I've given it enough water. So that's why I choose not to go outside and do it. It gives me and it gives everybody around me that seeing how happy I am with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that is really, really the key to absolutely being in tune. You have gone into both spaces, that internal space, your office, it's not needed anymore. So you've converted it to something that's so useful.
Yeah.
And you are now sitting in your swinging chair in your office.
Yes. I'm in my office space, but the rest of it is Bert had he barbecued in here, so I can't show the rest of it.
That's okay.
He started bringing his barbecue pit in here.
So, you created too much space.
Yeah.
Good. And you have an example of a garden that has allowed you to create an outdoor space that totally relaxes you. So yes, so you have found that, you know, when I was also doing some reading on Feng Shui, and you know, what we do, it all talks about balancing the space and your energy and so on. And what I realize is what we do by redecorating and decluttering and putting color and so on, we've been doing Feng Shui a long time because that is exactly what it says. Make sure there's energy, positive energy coming to your space. Dianne, this has been lovely. So no, I think you are a wonderful example of how easy it is to change your energy, change your mood, become more lifted by looking not only at your internal private space, but so critically the external space, you know, and connecting with life, connecting with plants, getting into the garden and getting energized.
Love to open the door and see the birds. I see all these different birds coming into my space. All you know, they teach you about all these little pests that help with your garden. And I look for them. I find myself looking for them. I find myself, you know, enjoying nature.
So you have all your ladybugs and all the good bugs and so on.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Nature. And that's what, you know, it brought to me that spirit of, you know, longing for nature, to go out there. There are people who can't go outside. You know, I could go outside. I have the benefit of being able to go outside. I don't have a big space. I don't have a big, you know, expanse of land but I created my little zen with the little space that I had. And
And viewers, here you have some beautiful pictures of Dianne's office space and garden. And it's true, it's not expansive, and all of that, Dianne, you did by yourself and just using paint.
Yep.
And
then taking a chair that I had and I covered it. I changed the color of it because it was just stark white. And I said, you know what? It needed some color. And covered it and put some cushions on it, throw some cushions on it to give it some life.
Mhm.
Put some flowers to brighten up the place, and you know, that's yeah, and that worked for me.
And that is the essence of being in tune and allowing your space to be in tune with your spirit that we want to encourage our 5.8G Alive cohort to adopt. Dee, thank you so very much. This was wonderful. And we really enjoyed the pictures, and we hope that you've inspired some of our listeners who may be weighed down by the lockdown and the curfew, wherever you are throughout the Caribbean, to just do something with the four walls that are surrounding you. And go outside and do something with the space that you have.
Just in a container, one container, you could just start, you know, start something, you know. But it was nice talking to you, Terry.
Same here, always is. So take care. Bye.